Assalamualaikum and a very good day. We are from Group 4 or Phosphor and we will present about phosphorus cycle. So here is the group members of Phosphor or Group 4. First, we have the phosphorus cycle and climate change issues.
Hello, let's talk about the phosphorus cycle.
One thing that I want to mention is about the phosphorus. Even though there is no phosphorus in the atmosphere,
Not like the carbon cycle, there is carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It's not like a nitrogen cycle where there is nitrogen in the atmosphere. Phosphorus cycle is begin with rock. Phosphorus cycle is considered as a biogeochemical cycle. Biogeochemical cycle is a pathway which chemical substance move through biotic and abiotic compartment on the earth. Phosphorus cycle is a slow process and involve 4 key steps. Step 1 is weathering, second is adsorption, third is decomposition, and fourth is sediment. Okay, for step 1 is weathering. The phosphorus that are found in the rock, weathering along with rain break down the phosphorus in the rock and it will travel to the soil and into the water source. Step 2 is adsorption by the plant and also animal. First, once the phosphorus in the soil, plant, fungi and also microorganisms are able to absorb the phosphorus and then grow. Some of the phosphorus are travel through water source, then animals are able to drink this water and absorb the phosphorus. Step 3, return to the environment by decomposition. Animals excrete waste and decomposers that are able to use the phosphorus in the waste material. Another, when the plant and also animal die, the bacteria convert the organic phosphorus into an inorganic phosphorus in the process called mineralization. And lastly, step 4, sediment to rock. Some of the phosphorus are buried in the sediment and the cycle continue. It is similar take place in the ocean.
Wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all. Now on I will discuss about the climate change issues. Okay. Okay, this diagram is about the eutrophication. Later after this, I will proceed with a little more about the explanation of the eutrophication. Introduction. Eutrophication is known as an increase of algae because the greater availability of the one or more growth factor, such as photosynthesis, sunlight, carbon dioxide, and nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus. In our case, we more to the phosphorus, which is cause the algae bloom. The phosphorus cause the nutrient for the algae to grow. Okay, due to uncontrolled height of number nutrient and increase large of biomass of the algae can cause the algae bloom. Okay, because the more algae bloom in the top of the water, in the deep of water, the organic substance accumulates and represent the algae having reached at the end of their life cycle. Okay, because of the life cycle of the algae is to the end, to destroy the dead algae, the required is oxygen, which to decompose the algae. So oxygen is needed to decompose by the microorganism. Okay, the mechanism. The mechanism is caused by the oxygen-free environment at the bottom of the river or the sea. So, responsible for the degradation of biomass, which is the dead organism. Okay. Okay. Because of the decomposition of the organic substance, there are toxics that produced by the microorganism, which is such as ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, which cause toxicity to the environment. This absence of the oxygen reduces the biodiversity, causing increase the death of the animal and the plant species. The plant species is important, which cause the photosynthesis to produce oxygen to the plant and the animal in the sea or the river. Okay, next. Okay, the issues. Water resources are important for human beings and also essential for all ecosystem. Human health is in risk if clean drinking water become contaminated by the ammonia and the hydrogen sulfide. Okay, next. Water also essential for agriculture, manufacturing, energy production, and other diverse use. Therefore, a changes climates and its potential effects puts more pressure on the water resources. Okay, the third one is climate change may cause increase of water demand. As a result, rising of the temperature and evaporation while decreasing bioavailability. On the other hand, extreme event as a result climate change can increase surface runoff and flooding, deteriorating water quality as well. And the last one is one effect is water eutrophication, which occur when high concentration of nutrient such as nitrogen and phosphorus are present in water. The algal bloom can cause many problems, such as deoxygenation of the water and water toxicity, ultimately disrupting normal ecosystem functioning. Okay, that's all from climate change issue caused by the phosphorus cycle. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. So we now goes to the human influences on phosphorus cycle. So we go to this first slide. So we see the eutrophication or algae bloom, how this happened and how human influences on this phosphorus cycles. So firstly, how human influences in phosphorus cycle by the usage of synthetic fertilizers. So fertilizer is one of the main axes in which human will affect the phosphorus cycles. Fertilizers and hot waste are high in phosphorus, which make its way to the soil in a moderate amount. If it is actually in a moderate amount. If the plants do not completely absorb the phosphate in the fertilizer, and as a result, excess phosphate will remain in the water supply of the plants, in which the remaining phosphate will leave as a runoff of water. So this is an example of the around runoff of water. So next, how human also influence the phosphorus cycle is by misusing the animal waste fertilizer. If animal waste or manure is spread carelessly during winter, I take example on the four season country, the plants will not utilize it. Instead, the ice can liquefy during the spring and then the phosphate from the fertilizer just become runoff. This is the result from the liquefied ice full of phosphate from the fertilizers. And lastly, how human influences the phosphorus cycle is by municipal sewage plants. So in this municipal sewage plants, it also produces phosphate. Then it will supply to the water. So for example, in the use of detergents, many of us use detergent, right? Many of which contain tripolyphosphate or STPP. The phosphate in the STPP, the use of the substance, which has been severely decreased due to environmental regulation, it will lead to the algae bloom in water and also which can kill fish and other plants. If this STPP from the detergent is not treated properly, phosphate in sewage will not be removed, thus will remain in the water supply of housing area. I also want to add a little bit more information on 2010. The phosphate in the dishwasher detergent is permanently cut, and also the phosphate in the detergent for washing the clothes is cut on 1998. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Next, we have the real-life example of the process, the negative impact.
So hello everyone, I am Alia. So today I will talk about the real life example of phosphorus deficiency in soil. As we know, phosphorus is a nutrient that we need, especially for plant growth. Phosphorus, like nitrogen and potassium, is an essential nutrient for plant growth. It is because of its low concentration in soils and it is low in solubility. The nutrient inevitably lost from the rapid soil plant cycling and can be naturally replaced only by slow weathering of phosphorus-bearing rocks. Phosphorus may exist naturally in the environment through weathering and erosion. However, phosphorus in rock is present in poorly soluble forms, above all in calcium phosphate. Moreover, soluble phosphate released by weathering are usually rapidly immobilized into insoluble forms. This natural phenomena occurs and takes a long time for phosphorus to present in adequate amount for plant growth. Thus, this impacts the environment. How does this impact the environment? Phosphorus deficiency may impact our environment, especially plant crops. The nutrient is especially important for young tissues in order to promote root growth, flowering, fruiting, and seed formation. Good phosphorus supply also improves the rate of nitrogen biofixation and maintenance of soil organic matter, who present enhance the soil's water-holding capacity and reduce erosion. Phosphorus deficiencies are not usually marked by specific signs, but rather by overall stunting. Thus, to humans, since our food source mainly comes from plants in agriculture such as rice and wheat, phosphorus deficiency in soil may also lead to disruption in food sources. That's all for now. Let's move on to the next point.
The real-life impact of phosphorus in terms of negative impact is eutrophication phenomena that happen because there are too much of phosphorus level within the water. And now we will know what is eutrophication, why and how it occurs. What is eutrophication? Eutrophication actually is a persistent condition on the surface water and a widespread environmental problem that cause adverse impact to human and also aquatic culture. And then why this happen is because over-enrichment of aquatic ecosystem with nutrients such as phosphorus leading to the algal bloom and anoxic event. This cause colony of algae simple plant that live in the sea and fresh water to grow out of control. And also the flow out of phosphorus into the lake or river. And how it happen is the soil that rich with phosphorus will wash into the lake or river, and then the phosphorus will attach to the soil particle and move into the surface water bodies from the runoff. And some of the phosphorus will dissolve and stimulate the phytoplankton and other simple plant within the water to keep growing and occupy the surface water. And the lake are not cured from the algal bloom because the recycling of phosphorus from sediment and also because of the agriculture activity that cause a runoff of phosphorus that contained in the soil because of over-fertilized. There are several adverse impacts that caused by algal bloom formation. First is the water quality. The presence of algal bloom will cause many impacts because of the phytoplankton present. The reduction of water quality and water clarity will affect the industry that use lake water as a resource, such as agriculture and drinking water production. Next, the formation of algal bloom also affect the fishing industry because the commercial aquatic creature become unsafe for human consumption. Also, some of the fish species cannot survive within the low level of dissolved oxygen. And then the third impact is human and animal health. This because the algal bloom will cause mass mortality toward fish and also birds. Human also affected because there are some illness that caused by consumption and swimming in the algae bloom. The last impact are tourism and drinking water. The tourism and economy will affected because the algal bloom area are prevented to use for water sport and recreation activities. And then for drinking water, the odor and toxins within the water are harmful and not suitable for human consumption. Before the water being processed, it will have go through a water treatment that highly cost to remove the odor and toxin within the water.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day. My name is Afika Binti Jasmi and my metric number is G17A0060. So I will talk about a real life example of the phosphorus cycle, more in the negative impact. So let's go. First, we have eutrophication. So during the 1960s, Lake Erie, one of the Great Lakes on the US-Canadian border, became an example of eutrophication gone mad. As a result of the high phosphate concentrations, Erie water were choked with plant and algae growth. Fish were unable to live in the water, the beaches reeked with smell of decaying algae, and Erie became widely known as the dead body of water. This situation led to the passage of new environmental standards and pollution controls by both United States and Canada, whose the government act to reduce drastically the phosphate content in fertilizer and also detergent. So at last, the Lake Erie proved to be an environmental success story because just within a few decades, the lake once again teemed with life. Alright, so next we move to the soil deficiency. Soil deficiency is actually because of the insufficient amounts of nutrient in the soil. For example, nitrogen and also phosphorus. So here we have the example in Northeast Asia, which is Thailand and Cambodia. They usually have the sandy soil coarse texture in their rice field. So here as the picture shown here, the coarse texture soil actually has less pore space and also more microspore. So because of that, the soil withdraws very quickly in the summer, during summer, and the nutrients or the water will often leach away, especially during rainfall, and the soil will become very acidic. So because of that, the developments of the plant will be unusual. So for example, here we have on the picture the rice field. The left one have the phosphorus while the right one have the insufficient amount of phosphorus. So here we can see the difference lah. So next we have the impact of the soil deficiency. First is the abnormal discoloration and the second one is the retarded plant development and maturity. The abnormal discoloration is like the plant or the leaves and the stem will turn purplish in colors, while the retarded plant development and maturity, the plant will be short and not like usual, so it become a retarded plant. Thus, because of that, the maturity of the crop and also the growth developments of the crop will be affected. It will reduce and decrease the amounts of yield produced by the plant.
The third one is we have the lab analysis.
For this section, we are going to talk about the lab analysis for measuring the phosphorus that is available in soil. Here is the overview of the procedure to measure the phosphorus that is available in soil. First step, extract the phosphorus from the soil in a sodium bicarbonate solution, which is the ozone solution, and shake it for 10 minutes. Then, allow the solution to settle for 7 to 10 minutes for some of the clay to settle out to prepare filtration. Then, filter the solution to get rid of the rest of the clay, making it a clear solution. And neutralize solution with sodium bisulfite dilute acid to reduce its pH and remove air bubbles. Then we react the neutral solution with reagent package to get the blue color solution to measure phosphorus. Then we read the blue color value with calorimeter and calculate the phosphorus level in soil based on the intensity of the blue color. The first step of the procedure is to weigh out 2.5 grams of soil for the extraction, which the soil is air dry and safe to 2 milliliter before weighing. 3 samples are prepared and the sample tubes are labeled to track samples. Then, 25 milliliter of ozone solution is added into the soil of 3 samples. The ozone solution is sodium bicarbonate and it is adjusted to the slightly basic pH, which is 8.5, by adding a small amount of sodium hydroxide. The mixture of 3 samples are then continuously shaken for 10 minutes. After that, the soil suspensions are allowed to settle for 7 to 10 minutes for some of the clay to settle out to proceed with the next step, which is filtration.
For the filtering method, vacuum filtering with a modified car tire air compressor was used. First of all, the filter paper were cut into a smaller circle to use in filtering. Then, the filter paper was put into a cap bottle with a tiny holes. The cap are also put in a bottle called lower vacuum bottle. It is called vacuum bottle since it is connected with the air pressure or air compressor. This is the rough schematic of how the filtering works. The suction are passed through air compressor to the lower vacuum bottle. The filter ring has an upper filter funnel and a lower vacuum bottle, which provides suction and catch the filtered soil extract. After that, turn on the compressor. Next, transfer 10 to 15 ml suspension to the filtrate with the dropper. Approximately 4 droppers are added into the bottle. We can see drops of filtrate are passing down the bottles. Let the filtrate pass through the hole. About 1 minute later, we can see that the filtrate are now collected in the vacuum bottle. Turn off the air compressor and we can see a solid residue. Take off the vacuum bottle and put the filtrate into a measuring cylinder. The filtrate now taken for analysis. First, measure 7 ml of filtered extract. The filtered extract have high or basic pH and must be neutralized using acidic sodium bisulfate or other acid. Next, place 3.25 ml of sodium bisulfate solution in the bottom of the clean cup. The bisulfate solution is 15 gram NaHSO4 mixed with each 100 ml of solution. 100 ml solution is enough for about 30 samples. The soil extract is then put into the cup to acidify it and bring the pH down to a level just below neutral. The bubble solution will release and carbon dioxide are released. Next, the neutralized extract is poured back into the cylinder and diluted to a volume of 20 ml. Rising out the cup and capture all the extract in the process. Use distilled or phosphorus-free water for this. The diluted extract is truly mixed by pouring it back and forth into the cup. This is really important since the extract is not well mixed at this point. Now, while the solution finishes bubbling, prepare 1 glass of vial for the calorimeter with the phosphate reagent pack. Label the vial. Add 10 ml of dilute extract to the vial with the reagent. Then, cap the vial and shake to mix the reagent. The cap should be removed to vent pressure and release any bubbles. This starts the color reaction, which can be read in 10 to 15 minutes. The remaining 10 ml of the neutralized and diluted is placed in another vial to provide a control for the calorimeter.
Moving on, the color development is really depends on how low the pH of your extract. Based on the video, they have been used the HENA high range phosphorus calorimeter for the phosphorus analysis. but how to use it. So what you need to do is first you need to insert the control wire, alright, and then you press the C1 button once and wait for the C2 to appear, alright, and then you put it on a table and read it without moving it. After C2 appears on the screen, what you need to do is you need to displace the control wire with another wire that contains the reagent, and then place it on the table just like just now and read it without moving. But the final reading on the HENA high range phosphorus calorimeter is not showing the exact amount of P in the soil, so some calculation need to be done. Here, this is the results. Okay, this is the results. So comparing the results and the standard, it can be said that the available P inside the soil sample used in this experiment is quite high.
And the last one is we have the global example or case study.
Next, I want to present a study about phosphorus cycle in Montreal food and urban agriculture system. So why the study is investigated at Montreal? Montreal is a city at Canada which proposed to improve phosphorus management by recycling city's phosphorus-rich waste back into the local food production. Urban agriculture have potential to recycle the waste and improve the urban phosphorus sustainability. Urban agriculture is a practice of cultivating food in or around urban areas. Phosphorus is element that naturally happen on geological timescale where phosphorus is eroded from rocks, tightly recycled through ecosystem, eventually ending up in the ocean where it is reincorporated into sediments. However, nowadays the phosphorus cycle is accelerated by extraction process through mining to produce phosphorus fertilizer for agriculture system. Fertilizer can improve crop productivity but also can threaten important aquatic resources due to over-fertilization. Phosphorus losses from agriculture and urban ecosystem to waterways through runoff and erosion have led to eutrophication in many lakes and coastal ecosystem and create concern for food security. There are two methods used in this case study. First, to calculate the phosphorus flow through the Montreal food system by food import to the island, food consumed on the island, human urine and feces produced on the island, sewage waste going to the wastewater treatment plant, sewage treatment plant loses to the St. Lawrence River, biosolid sent to landfill, septic storage, food and green waste produced on island, food and green waste produced recycled through compost, food and green waste produced sent to landfill. Second, to calculate the phosphorus flow through the urban agriculture system, which produce food, feed, and pasture for livestock on the island. In fertilizer import, harvested crop, compost reused on the island, food and feed exported, food from local urban agriculture production consumed on the island. So for the conclusion, the Montreal City have an important role to play in increasing phosphorus sustainability as they concentrate both phosphorus demand and waste production. Urban agriculture has the potential to contribute to sustainable phosphorus management by facilitating the reuse of waste phosphorus in nearby garden and farm. In Montreal, the current phosphorus food system is dependent on imported food, and the majority of phosphorus waste is stored in landfill, with only a very small amount of phosphorus recycled as compost. Urban agriculture is a small part of phosphorus cycling in Montreal overall food system. Even though the majority of phosphorus input to urban agriculture come from recycled source, the food and feed harvested still represent only a small fraction of Montreal overall phosphorus demand. Although the urban agriculture in Montreal could not possibly recycle all phosphorus from island organic waste, urban agriculture may still have potential to increase phosphorus recycling.
Next, I will present the case study, the phosphorus cycle in the Sangguo Bay, China. So Sangguo Bay, China is a typical aquaculture area in northern China that comprises with high economic potential. There are several organisms has been cultivated there, such as oyster, seaweed, and scallops. Forest has played an important role in the food web of ocean, which is necessary for the growth and reproduction of marine planktons. Some research has stated that phosphorus is limiting macronutrients in marine systems over geological timescale, which means it will be lacked at certain times such as autumn and summer. Hence, it's crucial to investigate the phosphorus cycle in the Sanguo base to enhance better understanding of phosphorus cycle and its relationship to the large-scale aquaculture activities. The sampling of phosphorus cycles were conducted under different seasons and 21 stations that encompass the maricultural areas. The seawater sample was taken from the surface, which is 0 m, and near bottom water, which is roughly 1 m above the seabed, by using 5-liter Niskin bottle. Various methods were utilized to analyzing the phosphorus composition, such as the total dissolved phosphorus (TDP), dissolved inorganic phosphorus (DIP), dissolved organic phosphorus (DOP), suspended particulate matter (SPM), and particular organic phosphorus (POP). Based on the results of the study, it stated that dissolved inorganic phosphorus and particular inorganic phosphorus were the main components in total dissolved phosphorus and total particular phosphorus. The high density of aquaculture activities was lead to the net loss for phosphorus. Hence, it depends on the phosphorus contribute from the outcome source such as yellow sea, river input, and atmospheric deposition. The distribution of various phosphorus components in Sanguo Bay were affected with the interaction of water exchange arise from the Yellow Sea and the high-density aquaculture activities. Last, the harvest of shellfish and seaweeds was occupied the highest phosphorus removal source in Sanguo Bay.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Anatika. I'm going to present my part regarding the case study involved in phosphorus cycle, which is the management of phosphorus in water near Tiet, Brazil. To summarize, this study discusses about the phosphorus dynamics in the environment and measures taken towards the management of its presence in water. In order to illustrate the situation in Brazil, this case study presents an assessment of the size of the potential phosphorus load that is discharged daily into the Tiet River state of Sao Paulo in urban area. Due to its replacement in powdered detergents, the results show a potential reduction in the amount of phosphorus discharged into the Tiet of about 11.7 times per day. The size of the potential phosphorus load that might be recovered from sewage sludge shows a scenario of great potential for reusing and recycling in agriculture areas, as long as the necessary care is taken regarding safety and environmental protection. For methodology, this case study used cleaner production (CP) techniques, which is important tools for controlling water pollution, as they contribute to the reduction of phosphorus emissions. They can therefore improve the perception producers and consumers have of this issue, introducing reducing, recycling, and recovering concepts, and assisting in compliance with the public policies geared towards preserving the environment.
For the problem statement, the strategies for managing phosphorus in the environment have been considered to be of great significance. In light of debates about protecting water resource, tools for recovering and recycling phosphorus are being assessed with the aim of guaranteeing the sustainability of natural reserves. Although phosphorus is not toxic to living organisms, however, phosphorus is associated with levels of fertilizing in water systems, that is, eutrophication. This process can contribute to the deterioration of water quality and may render water unusable, thus becoming a significant environmental and public health issue in agriculture. The use of phosphorus is related to guaranteeing productivity. Due to its reduced solubility, phosphorus is considered a nutrient that is taken up at low levels of plants. Consequently, fertilizers are always applied in larger amounts than a plant's ability to extract them. However, the continuous and long-term application of fertilizers can increase the concentration of phosphorus in the soil and contribute to the loss of the nutrient through superficial drainage. The phosphorus loss coefficient in agriculture areas varies between 0.15 and 1.4 kilogram HA per year. In the Brazilian state of Sao Paulo, the potential phosphorus losses in cultivated areas is around 5.045 times per year, or equivalent to 0.20 kilogram per year. This value is derived from the average rate of the phosphorus concentration in soil and the amount of fertilizers used in the region, calculated at 0.002614%. It is also considered the losses of soil from the erosive processes and the runoff because of rainfall, estimated at 193 million times per year. So, based on the concept of pollution prevention, the aim of cleaner production (CP) is to help preserve the sources of raw materials, contribute to the development of products that have lower environmental impact during their life cycle, reduce the risk of using toxic materials, and decrease the amount of residue and emission produced. By managing environmental aspects which occur during the various stages of the industrial process, corrective technologies, the so-called end-of-pipe technologies, are substituted with the preventative actions. For the result section, from table 1, it shows that the urban population in the tiered basins in the years of 1986, 2000 and 2016, according to different UGRHIS, based on the demographic data, it is also gives the estimated loads of phosphorus into the water according the potential contribution of the wastewater, and because of the introduction of detergents with low phosphate content in the Brazilian market. So, besides the potential reduction in the emissions of phosphorus into the water because of phosphorus replacement in detergent, the scenario of sewage treatment in the basin can affect the amount of phosphorus discharged into the tiered river. So, it must be mentioned that the rate of sewage collection and treatment in the basin is around 71.8%, and the largest part of existing sewage treatment plants are not designed for phosphorus removal. So it can be referred that there is a large quantity of phosphorus discharged into tiered waters from the source, contributing to eutrophication. So the conclusion is the management and control of the sources of phosphorus is considered to be of great importance in order to improve the quality of the water systems. Measures taken towards promoting changes in behavior and attitude related to the use of phosphorus on the part of producers, consumers, and the population in general may contribute to teach people about the impact of the presence of phosphorus in water. In the case of the tiered river basins, there could be a reduction of approximately around 11.7 times per day of phosphorus because of its replacement in powdered detergents formula by other raw materials. That is all from me. Thank you.
Alright, so I think that's all from my group. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.